Yesterday we have seen background image, background color, background repeat, background position, and background attachment. Let's do a little further in the background. So I will start with a new file 20.html. And I'll start with the style tag. So yesterday we saw the background image, and today we'll see little bit more about the background image first. So let me create a div tag, and I will give class of box1. Then I will put some text, one heading text, and then I'll put some content in it. This is the content in the paragraph. We'll copy paste couple of lines. Okay, so this is my content. Now what I'll do, I'll give some background image to this div tag. So for example, I'll say dot box1. I'll start with a curly bracket, and I'll say background image and here I will put the image. For example, URL image power.gif. So this way I put the image, background image. I can put two images also, three images also in the background. So for example, I will put comma, and then I will put another image. For example, URL this is another image. So I have two images in my local. I have many images. So first image I put image flower, second image I put paper. So you will see both the images are in the background, and I can put comma, and I can put more images also in the background, as many as I want. Now I will put the position. So let's start with the position. So since I have two images, I have to give the two positions separated by the comma. So first I will say first position should be right bottom. So the first image will be on the right bottom, and second will be, I will say, left top. Right now it's not clear in the image in the above, because we have to also give one more property of the repeat, and then it will make clear. So I will give the third property of background repeat. So how I want, whether I want to repeat or I don't want to repeat. So the first image is a flower. I don't want to repeat. So I will say no repeat. Once I say no repeat, it goes to the right bottom. Here is the right bottom, which I mentioned here in the position. And then I will say second image is a paper.gif. I will say repeat. So the first image has the right bottom property, and it has no repeat. Second image has the paper GIF image, and it is on the left top. Here is the left top, but it is a repeat, so it is repeating all over this div. Now, if I want to put third one, I can also put third one, but you will see if I put image flower again, and let's give the position of left bottom to third one, and I'll say no repeat. But it is not showing here. It is not showing here. The reason is this paper one is taking the whole of the background, and so the third image which I am putting is not visible. If I put this third image before the paper background, and I will change the position of all the rows, then it is appearing on the left side of the bottom, and this image is coming on the right side of the bottom. So you need to play with it whenever you get which one is, you can, or you want to put on the left side or right side. Generally, this is a repeat kind of thing. If I say no repeat, it will not repeat kind of thing. But I want it to repeat. So you need to play with it kind of thing. Initially, I put this image on the right side, but I then realized that paper was there, which is hiding this image. So I put the image on the left side. So the main thing is that you can put the multiple images with the multiple positions and multiple repeat. So this way you can put multiple background images in the div. And this property came in the CSS3. Previously, whatever I explained yesterday, there was no property which will take multiple background images. So this is the new thing which they introduced in the CSS3. Let's do a couple of more examples. Let's see. Okay, what we saw yesterday, let's see. We saw background image, repeat, position, attachment. Okay. So this one was about the background image. Now we will move to, I have a couple of examples. Those are same actually. This is the same, only divided this, whatever we did today. Whatever we did today, I have a couple of examples which show this image in the one example, this image in the another example. So it is same exactly what I am showing you. Now let's move to the size. I am copying this in the chat so that you can take the notes, and I'm putting it in the notes also. Okay, let's move to the background size. Previously, there was no size kind of concept in the background. So they introduced background size in the CSS3. We'll see the example of background size now. I'll save this file to 21.html, and we will put now one example of the size. So let's create, this example is already there, and I will remove this properties first. I don't need it. Now let's try to put some CSS. I will put border 1 pixel solid black, for example. And I will say background image URL, and I will say image flower.gif. As soon as I add it, it will go through all the x-axis and y-axis. It's a repeat kind of thing. So I have to say whether I want to repeat it or I don't want to repeat it. So I will say background repeat, and here I will say no repeat. So I'm not repeating it. And then I will give some padding to this box. For example, 15 pixel. So I got the padding to this div tag. Now I will add the size. And once I will add the size, you will see there is some difference in this one and the next one where I'm adding the size. So let's copy this box 1 and I'll say it box 2, and in the box 2 I will add the size. Box 2, and here I will say I will copy first all the top properties, and now I will add the background size. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so I will say background size of, for example, I'll just put some dummy value first, 10 pixel, 200 pixel. So 10 pixel is kind of width and 200 pixel is kind of height. So let's try to put some different real values. For example, is 100 pixel is the width, and I will say 80 pixel is the height. So I change the size. So if you see in the first image, it is the original image, whatever size we get by default of the image. And in the second image, I define the size. So it becomes little smaller as I defined the size here. So it's up to me how much size I want to show. In CSS2, there was nothing like size, background size. So they were not able to do the size kind of thing. They have to decrease the size of div, and maybe they have to manipulate it by putting a div and inside it create one background and position that background anywhere they want. So right now they have put the size also in the CSS3. Now we'll do some more example. Size is done. Let's see what else is pending. Okay, size also has two more properties. One we saw something kind of width and height. We define the width and height. So background size we define width and height. We also have two more properties of the size, and they are, one is called as content and second is called as cover. Now we will try to put these both and see what is the difference between each one. So first we'll put the content. I'll save it as 22.html, and first one I will put the content and you will see what is the happening. So I will say background size of content. Okay, as soon as I put content, now what happened? What does content did? I will write down here what is the content doing. The content keyword is the background image to be as large as possible. One second. Let me write down more something. Okay. So it will fit as large as possible. So you will not see real difference because the height, original height is also same. Let's try to do some more example, then it will be more clear. So first let's put the cover and then we will see what is happening in here, cover. So I will change the background size to cover. So now cover, what does cover does? We'll write down here what does the cover do. The cover keyword scales the background image so that the content area is completely okay. I'll change this image to different one for this example. I will put flower.jpg. Okay. So here in this example, you are not able to see the cover exactly. I will put one more example which will make the cover clearly. Let me write down the meaning of the cover. The cover keyword scales the background image. So the content area is completely covered by the background image. So the content area is completely covered by the background image, and here it tries to limit itself in the div tag where it is there and try to make it as large as possible. But whereas here it try to completely cover the background image, uh, covered by the background image. So since div is this completely big, so image is trying to cover all the parts of the div. So let's put and we'll. So here since it is covered, so it will try to take complete div and try to put the image all over the place. If I reduce the size, let's say if I change the width to 400 pixel, it will try to take the complete 400 pixel. If I change to 600, it will try to take the complete 600 pixel. Since it has increased its size, so the bottom part is not visible because it tried to increase the image and it is not able to show the bottom because div height is small. If I increase the height, let's say 400 pixel, then you will see it is taking the whole of the div again by covering the whole div. And here it is not covering the whole div. See, the right side is empty. It's white. It's trying to take the it 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 is contained into the div and tries to take the as much space as it wants. So it will try to make it bigger as it possible, but it remains inside the div tag. Both are inside the div tag, but it's not taking the whole of the div tag. It takes whatever uh, whatever as large as it is possible. It takes that space. But this has the this has the affinity to take whole of the div. It cannot be half of the div or 50% of the div. Let's do same thing. Let me see if I have another example. Okay, yeah, let's do this one. I'll do one more example of this so you will understand. Let me delete all the CSS and let's delete all the div. And now I will create div. I will say class div1 and I will put some text. This is div1. Similarly, I'll create div2 and I'll say this is div2. Similarly, I'll create a div3 and I'll say it's a div3. I created 3 div. I'll give some style sheet to each of the div. So first div, I will say border 1 pixel solid black and I'll say height of 15 pixel or 150 pixel, width of 180 pixel. So I have one div, small div. Now I will put background, image, URL, image underscore flower dot gif. I put one image inside this div tag. Okay, and I will say background repeat equal to no repeat. This is my property for the first div. Let's create second div. I will copy the first div and I'll put the second div also with the same property. Now here I will change. Okay, first let's create three div with same properties. Okay, so I have all div with the same property. In the second div, I will say background size of content. So this is the original size. This is the content. Content means it tries to adjust itself inside the div tag. If div tag is bigger, this will be also bigger, but it tries to adjust inside the div tag. Okay, let's try to make this background size of cover. So when I put cover, it tries to take whole of the div. Here it's not taking div. It's trying to put as much as possible, large as possible, but it will not take the whole of the div. And here it will take the whole of the div. So this is the difference between these two. This is the original one. If I put contain, it will take whole of the div. Cover will take whole of the div. Contain will try to adjust inside the div, and it will not go. It will not increase width or it will not increase the height too much of its size, but it will try to adjust inside the div. But with the cover, it will cover the whole of the div. Let's try to increase this content because I'm not sure if it increases the height. Let's see if it increases the height. Yeah, it increases the height, but it is limited to the whatever it can increase, but it is limited to the div tag. It doesn't. Yeah, see here also it increases the height. Here also it increases the height, but image is always inside the div tag. Because of the height and width combination, it's not able to go below down. So empty space is there. Let's try to increase the height and width of this one. So now this one will try to take the whole of space because this is the cover. Cover takes whole of the space. So we have three things: cover, contain, and and normal original one. So this is for today about the CSS. We will do more background tomorrow because I have a few more things to explain in the background, and I will be giving you one small exercise also in the background, and so you should learn all this, image, repeat, size. You should try to revise it because tomorrow there will be small test kind of session where I will ask you to put size or I will ask you to put the image, something like that. Simple stuff I will ask you to do. So that's it for the CSS. Let's move to the JavaScript. Any questions on this?
No.
No.
Okay,
I
yeah,
do have a question actually.
yeah.
So if you have a like background image fixed and you have like the title and the text on top of it, but then below it you want text. Is there anything special you need to do? Because the image is in the background, but the text you want below the background.
If you want, you see, background does not really interact with the text kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So background remains in the background. And if you want to adjust the text, then you need to create another div and position it wherever you want. But you cannot really, say that after background the text should start. So there is nothing like that. If it starts from the background image, text should start. Otherwise, you put real image and then you can adjust the text according to the image. So if you want to put the background image, then background does not have any control on the front end text.
Okay.
So you cannot really say background ends here, now start my text. This will not work. Either you can manually do it or you create an image instead of background image. If it is an image, after image you can put the text. But with background, you cannot really control that, oh, background is closing here, start my text after that. It will not work.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So let's go with the JavaScript now. So today I will show you, we saw how we create the object in the in the JavaScript by saying, let's say, function book, and I create a book, and then I will say, let's say, let obj is equal to new book. Like this, I create the object. And another way of creating the object is I can say var object is equal to curly bracket start, curly bracket end, and I can put something inside this object. It will be the object. Or I create the function and I say it is a new book, and then that object will be created. Another way to create an object is like this. I will create the class and I will name it as a book. And I will start with the curly bracket, end with the curly bracket. So this is kind of an object. This becomes an object. And here, what we were doing in the function, if I write the function, let's say textbook. If I want to pass parameter in the function, default parameter in the function, I would have defined the parameters here, x, y, z, a, b, c, something like that parameter I can pass in the function. But since I created the class here, I don't get anything to pass in the as a parameter. But what if I want to pass as a parameter? So if I want to pass something in the parameter, I will create one function inside this class. This function is called constructor. And in the constructor, I can say the default parameter to be passed inside this class. For example, I will say title, pages, and the number of book, number of the book, ISBN. And then I'll start with the curly bracket, end with the curly bracket. So this constructor is a function which will take default values, which will take the initially parameter in the class book. So I will show you how it will take. Let's press enter. Okay, it is having already been declared. So I already declared, it's not allowing me. So let's give some different name, book 1. I created the book 1 class. Now if I want to create an object of this class, what I will do, I will say let my book, this is the name of the variable, I can put any name, and I will say new book 1, since it is book 1, and in the bracket I will pass these parameters, title, pages, and ISBN. So I can say title is title, pages are, let's say, 51 pages, ISBN, that is number, is, let's say, 1 2 3 4 5 is the number of the book, and I press enter. So I created a class and I created the constructor function. This is the function. This is the way we create a function in the JavaScript in the new version, ES6 version. We can create a class and we can create a constructor. or any function. But constructor is the first function which is called when we initialize this book1. So whenever we started this book1, I will pass some default parameter which will go inside the constructor. Without mentioning the name of constructor here, I can pass all these values inside the constructor function. Let's try to do one more example so it will be clear. I will create a class, for example B1, and inside this class I will say constructor, and I will pass title, pages, and ISBN number of the book. And here I will say this dot title. This dot title is a variable of this class. What is this dot title? This dot title. Do you know the difference between this title and this title? This is calling this dot title, but this title is coming as a parameter. What is the difference between these two?
One a parameter and one is an object?
Yes, this one is a variable of this class. So it can be accessed by b1 dot title, something like that. I will show you. Let's create. So I will say title. So whatever parameter I'm passing, I'm saving it in the object variable. This is called object variable because this is the object we will be creating. It has this variable. So this title and this title is different. This title is something which we are passing as a parameter in the function, and this title is the variable of this class, and it is called object variable. Let's put enter and then try to create more variables. I will say this dot pages is equal to, we can change the name also. Right now I have kept the same name. I can also say this dot pg is equal to pages, or this dot name equal to title. So this name is actually related to b1, and this title is something which we are passing here. So once we are passing some parameters, it will be saved in the objects variable, that is in the b1's name variable. And let's say I will put this dot ISBN number is equal to ISBN. Now I created a constructor, I created the class. Now I will create one more function inside the class. Let's say print ISBN. Here I will print the ISBN, and I will create a function. Function means I will put round bracket, and I'll start with the curly bracket. I'll end with the curly bracket. So this is another function. This is the first function. There are two functions inside this class B1. And in the second function, I will say console.log of this dot name. So whatever name I have passed here, whatever name I have saved here, I will display that name here by calling this function. Let's create this class. I created this class. Now I will call this class. So how to call this class? I will say let my b1 is equal to new b1, and I will pass three parameters inside it. Maybe title. The title will be, for example, learn JavaScript. Second will be pages. Let's say it has 500 pages. Third is ISBN. Let's say ISBN number is 3425, and I will press enter. So we created an object from this class. Now if I do console.log of my b1, it will show this b1 is an object, and it will show the ISBN number which I passed here. It will show the name which I passed here. It will show the PG which I passed here. Now what I will do, I will say console.log of my b1 dot name. So if I want to know the name of this class, I will say my b1 dot name, and I will place enter. It will say learn JavaScript. If I say console.log of my b1 dot page. So it will display file there. I can also say console.log of my b1 dot isbn. Sorry, it will show the number. So what I did, I created the class, I created the constructor where I will pass the default values, and then I put the variable name, and whatever default value I am passing, I assign each with a different variable name. And here in the print ISBN, I am printing one of the variable of this class. So let's call this print ISBN and see what's happening. So I will say my b1 dot print ISBN, and I will press enter, and it's saying learn JavaScript, because inside this function I am doing console.log of this dot name. So this dot name is defined here, and this is the class function, this is the variable of the class b1. Now if I don't have any parameter to pass like this, or I don't want to do anything in the constructor. Right now I am assigning the values in the constructor. But tomorrow, what if I don't have any values and I don't need to put any logic inside the constructor? Do I need to create this constructor?
No.
No, because this constructor is only required if we want to put some logic when we start or when we call the B1 class. And if we don't have this parameter, or if we don't want to put any logic inside this, then we will not create this constructor, and we will only create the class with the function whatever we want to use. So the simple way is just create a class and create the functions as many you like. You can put 10 functions, you can put 20 functions, you can put 30 functions. Constructor function is only needed if you want to pass some variables, and that variables you can take in the constructor function and then use it in any of the function like this.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
If you go up, if you put like this dot pg before this dot name, the line, would that
Yeah.
make a difference?
No, you can put anything below, above, below. Let's try to do create b2, and I can put inside this, you can put anything randomly. It's up to you. You can put you can do console.log, any logic you can put. Hey, how are you? So this will be called as soon as I create this b2, this will be called, and I will press enter. Now I will create a new variable. My b2 is equal to new b2, and I will pass, let's say, title, pages, and ISBN. So since whenever I started this one, it goes to the constructor and it is saying console.log, hey, hi, how are you? So it doesn't matter you put anything above, below.
So here the class, we can consider it as a function, a group
Yes.
of functions.
Class is something whatever we did previously as a function and made the object, and this is another way to create an object by calling it as a class. Class is not really a function. Class is something, a container which has many functions inside it. So class is, let's write down in the notes. So, previously, long time back when programming came, there were no classes, only functions. So I can create function X, and I'll say put something here, blah, 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 blah. I can create function Y. So in olden days, there were no classes, only the functions like this. Later on, what they said, let's take these two functions and put it in one class. Let's say class A. And I put these two functions inside it. Let's say tomorrow I have another class B, and it has also same name of the functions. So I can copy these two and I will put, let's say, put it here. So in this B, though the name is same, the logic will be different, but here also the name is same. Here also the name is same. So we group something and put it in the A container, and we group some functions and put it in the B container. Class is nothing but a container which contains all the functions. So let's say if we don't have classes, then we can use X and Y. And if I want to use again this, then there will be problem. I can use only one function name. So here again X is there, and here again an X is there. So I have to change it to X2, for example, or Y2. So it becomes little difficult to manage. So what they thought, let's group some functions into class A, that is the container 1, and let's group another set of functions in class B, that is in another container. So this is, class is nothing but a container, and all functions come inside the class.
Yeah, clear.
Tomorrow I will talk more about the classes. Right now, just try to understand this much. Tomorrow we will talk more little bit about the classes, and then we are done. And in PHP also, we create the class in the similar way. So if you understand the JavaScript way, PHP is similar to JavaScript. So we will be creating classes like this only in the PHP. Okay, so this is about the JavaScript for today. Let's move to our project. We have very limited time, so let's do it quickly. Let's start the server. So we were in the cron 2. We created the 3-day time, and we selected the user who has email flag of 1, and the flag date is less than 3 days. That means more than 3 days. Here I'm saying less than, but in reality it is who has email flag date more than 3 days. That means he did not logged in within the 3 days, and 3 days has already passed. So I take all this in the record set and I loop all the record sets. Now for each record, that is this each record, for each record I have to go to the reminder table and get, and we have to get the all the we have to go to the reminder table and get all the reminders for each of the user. So for example, if I go to the database, so let's run this file. Okay, we don't have anything because we don't have any user who has email flag 1 and it is less than 3 days. We did yesterday, we run the cron 1 yesterday, so it has 3 days has not passed. So what if instead of 3 days we just say 1 hour? If 1 hour is passed, in reality we will put 3 days, but right now for testing I am putting 1 hour. If 1 hour is passed and I am not logged in, let's show that. So if I put 1 hour, all 3 are coming. Did you understand why I put 1 hour?
Yeah.
For testing purpose. For today only. In reality, I will put 3 days like this. But since we don't have any user for 3 days, for testing purpose, I am just saying, just do it for 1 hour. Whoever is not logged in since 1 hour, show me those, and who has email flag of 1. So I got all these 3 1. Now I will go with user 1 and I will go to the table reminder. And in the reminder table, I will say select star from LR reminders where user ID is equal to 1. I will call this select statement so that I can get all the reminders of the user ID 1. Since we have first row as a user ID 1. Then after I am done with the first row, I will go with the 2 and I will say user ID equal to 2 and I will run it. I will get these records. then 2 is done. Then it will go to the third record. Then I will call the query for the third record and I'll run it. Third record does not have any reminder because we deleted all the reminders for the third user. So it is empty, so no email will be sent to this third user. So now for each user, I want to call using this query string. So what I will do in Dreamweaver, I will first create a record set and then I will move inside this while loop. So I will create something like this record set and I will then copy it and I will paste it inside this do while reminder. Do while is something kind of for loop. I wanted to put inside it because we will get new user inside this do and while loop. So let's create the record set. I will say my reminder record set is, I will use the simple one and I will say rs reminder and I will say connection, and in the connection I will use the lr reminder, and here I will say user id, and what user id I want, I will put to, maybe I will say right now I will, let's say if I am saying a URL parameter, later on I will change because right now we don't have URL parameter in the cron. So right now for now I will put URL parameter and then I will go to the code level and I will change it. And here I will say user IDs and then I'll click OK. So now we got a reminder, this reminder kind of thing. We have to loop through this reminder. What we have to do? We have to loop through this reminder. So let's loop it. Let's copy this part and I will put inside this while loop. I will put it inside the p tag and I'll go here in design. Okay, here I am not able to see it. The reason is it is a table and tr, so I won't be able to see it. Let's put inside above one and let me see if I can see it. Okay, I'm able to see this 3 records. Here I'm not able to see, that's the problem. Okay, for now I will move it outside the table. Okay, so I will loop it outside the table and then I will move this inside the table. So let's take this and let's loop it, because let's say if I have 3 reminders, for example, if I'm using user ID 1, I have 4 reminders. So we want to loop all these 4, 1, 2, 3 and 6 number. So for looping, I will select this part and I will loop it. So how to loop it? I will click the plus sign and I'll say repeat region. When I say repeat region, it will loop it. And in the repeat region, I will choose a ls reminder and I'll say all the records and I will place OK. So once I get looping, I will take this looping part. So we have already one do while. See, when I say looping, it creates the do while statement. One is do and one is while for the reminder. We have already do while statement for the users. So let's copy this do while inside here. So now I have do while inside here. Okay, so this is my one, and also I need to copy this part which PHP has created, and I'll cut it this here and I will put it inside the do, inside this tr, outside the tr, inside this do while loop. It's little complex, but you will understand once I will repeat the things. And here, instead of get user ID, since we don't have get user ID, we will take this one and we will replace the user ID with this one. So what is the step? Step is get all the users who have not logged in for 3 days and who has email flag of 1. Once we get all the users, we loop through all the users, and for each user, we go to the reminders table and we get all the reminders for that user which we have in the first row. And once we get all the reminders, we will do some logic here, and then this while loop will be over and the next while loop will come and we will get second user ID. When we get second user ID, we will run this statement for the second user ID and we'll get all the reminders for this second user ID. Once we get all the reminders for this second user ID, we will go to next loop of the user ID and we will get the third user ID and we will then get all the reminders for the third user ID. And once we are done with all the records of the third user ID, we will move to the fourth user ID, and this way we will do two loops every time. Now what steps we have to do here is other steps. We have to, since user is not logged in, that means the user is dead. Since user is dead, we need to send email to the all his reminders. So to send the email, we will create one PHP block and we will create one message. $message is equal to, and I will say dear user. Since I haven't taken the name of the person whom he wants to send email, I just took the email and I took the title and I took the message. So I don't know the name of the user whom I want to send the email. Let's say I want to send the email to this one. I have only the title, I have message, I have email too. So I don't have the name of this one, but I can use title also. Instead of dear user, I can use title. So to use title, I will go to the binding panel. I will go to reminder and I will drag the title here. Since it is kind of array, I have to use the curly bracket. So this will be the title which user has put. Then I will say this message. And then I will put the message which user has put it for the son. So I will say, or I will say, this user. What is the username? First name. This user is not alive today. He has sent a special message for you. Message is, what message he has sent? I will click this message and I will put it here. And I'll put the curly bracket because all the variables should go as a curly bracket. And then he has also, or I can say file link. Just I'm putting this dummy message. Later on, I will improve it once once I'm done with the website. I will try to improve it. File link. So I will also check whether file link is there, then add it, and if it is not there, then don't add it. I will just put that logic after some time. And what we need, status. We don't need status. So this is the message we created for the email. This is the title which user has created. For example, reminder for my son. And I'll say this user that is not alive today. He has sent a special message for you. The message is this message, and this is the file link which you want to say. And I can say thank you. Reminder admin, something like that. So I will improve that message once I am done. Then I will create the mail function. I will say mail. I want to use the to. To will be the email to which I want to send to. And then second is the subject. Subject, I can take the title, whatever title user has chosen, I will put it in the title. And then will the message, and I will copy this message part and I will put it here. And here will be from admin@lifereminder.com or .tk. Yesterday I bought tk. Okay, this should become in the greater than and less than sign. And here I will put the name admin. And this email should go in the less than sign and the greater than sign. I'll put the single quote, round bracket, and I'll put it semicolon. So this is the mail. Since it is the localhost, mail will not go. So I'm commenting it right now. I can put all this thing. After the do one. Maybe before starting the tr tag, I can do it. I don't need this part. So I will create the one message. After creating the message, I will mail it. I will uncomment this when I will go live, and I will put @ sign before the mail for if any errors are coming, I can hide that errors. And here I will update it. What I have to update it? I have to update the cron flag equal to 1. I have to update the cron flag equal to 1. Now why I want to update the cron flag equal to 1?
So you know that the email was sent?
So that we should know that email is sent. So once cron flag is 1, I should not take this user again when my cron runs second time. So since my cron should not run again second time, what change I should do in this query so that second time when I run this cron, I should not pick up all the users which I already sent the email. So I have to change the cron flag equal to 1. So what change I should do in this query so that I should not pick up the same user again and again. This cron will run 100 times in a day. So I don't want to send email to every time. So what should I check here so that I should not email the users again and again? Can you
Equal
suggest
to
something?
0. Equal
What
to
should
0.
I cannot hear. Can you type? I'm not. Your voice is not clear.
Equal to 0.
Equal to 0, right?
0.
Right. So I will say and lr users dot cron flag. Is it cron flag or cron flag 1? What is it? It's cron flag. So I will say cron flag equal to 0. So I will check that cron flag should be 0, and when cron flag is 0, I will display this all and I will send the email, and after sending the email I will update the cron flag equal to 1 so that I should know that I have already sent mail to this user. So let's update it. Since we have already written update in the cron 1, I will copy that statement from the cron 1. So I will take this statement from the cron 1 and I will do some changes. So here I will say update lr user set cron flag. Now it's a cron flag. So I will say set cron flag equal to 1. I don't need date because I don't have any column of date. Where user ID equal to, since now this statement has only 1% as, that means I have to use only one variable, either this or either this. Which one I will use, first one or second one?
I would say the second one.
Second one, because we have to check the user ID. We don't have to update the time right now. So I will delete this part and I will say update LR user set cron flag equal to 1 where user ID equal to %s and %s will be taken from this variable, that is the record set user ID, and this user ID is looping here, do while is looping, and it is giving us the user's email or user ID, and I am passing that user ID here and it will update it. So let's try this and we will see if cron flag is updated or not. Before trying it, I will also paste this message. I will echo this message to see whether this message has gone or not. So I will just say echo because I don't have real email now. So I'm just pasting this message if a message is gone or not. In the real world, I will send the email and then I can double check that email is gone or not by receiving the email. But right now I cannot check the email, so I will just say echo message so that I can at least see what is coming here. I will refresh it. Okay, so there is some error. It's saying pass error. There is some error on line number 62. Let's see what is there in the 62. 62. So we have created this variable without curly bracket, so it is giving the error. So I will put the curly bracket and I will end with the curly bracket. And then again I will refresh it. Okay, so this is gone, but I am getting another error of this function one. Reason I'm getting it because I'm calling this function here, but I don't have that defined in the page. So I will go to the cron one and copy that function and I will put it in my cron 2. And then I'll refresh again. Okay, again I am getting some error, but I got this email sent. But let's see what is the error. It is at 101 line number. Let's go in 101 line number. It is saying this one is giving error, right? RS record user. Since I have RS users, so I have to use same variable which I have. So I'm using the same variable now. Let's run it again. Okay, so now I don't get any error and I'm getting this message which I have created this message. This message is good for the email, but when I use this message here in the PHP, it is not looking good. So instead of $message, I will say here NL to BR. That means convert all new line to the BR. And I can see on the browser, very nice view I can see. But since if I refresh it, it will give nothing because all users cron flag has become uh, 1. So let's go here and we will change the cron flag to 0 again to send the cron. Let's send it to 0, 0, 0. And I'll save because I want to run the cron again. So I'll refresh it now. So now you will see the first reminder is going, then second reminder is going, third reminder is going, fourth reminder is going, then Carrie's reminder is going, Carrie's another reminder is going. Kate does not have reminder, but still I am seeing this kind of little weird message without real content. The reason is we are using the do while loop without checking the if condition. So always whenever you start with the do while, you have to check the if condition. How to check the if condition? I will check this total users. I will copy this total users, and before the do one or before the table is created, I will put like this. If total rows is greater than 0, that means if total row is greater than 0, then only run the table. Then only go inside the table. And I will end after the table. I will put the curly bracket and I will end it. Similarly, what I did this for this one, I will do same thing for this do loop also. So for this do loop, I will say this row reminder. I will take this reminder variable, total reminder variable. I will say if total reminder is greater than 0, then run this do loop and then run this message, send the email, do the update, and once update is done, I will put if end if condition here. So now if initially we don't have any user, it will not even go inside the table. And if we have the user, it will not go inside the reminder unless and until we have some reminder for that user. Because we are checking here if user is reminder is greater or it should be greater than 0. So let's go to the database again and we will again make this on cron flag 0 to see how it's working. I made cron flag 0. Now I will go to the browser and I will refresh again. Okay, there is some error again while I created the if condition on line number 108. So 108 is this line number. So I started the if condition here. I should end after the while condition. And while condition should not come here. While condition should come here. Why it should come here? Because I'm looping for the reminder. I'm not looping for the users. So let the user should be here. While condition should go here. It's little complex. You have to watch the video again and again and do it so that you should know what's happening. I will repeat again the whole procedure. It's actually simple, but since there are a couple of steps going on, so for beginner it will be little tough. I will refresh it now. Now let's see what's happening. I'm getting one mail for me, second mail for me, third mail for me, fourth mail for me. Then comes the Carrie's first mail, Carrie's second mail. Since Kate don't have any email, I'm not getting Kate. Why I'm not getting Kate? I put the if condition. Previously I did not put if condition, so I was getting the Kate's name also. Now let's try to understand what's happening. This is the function which is needed for some purpose. Then I created this record set which will get all the users with email flag 1, email flag date less than 3 days. For this testing purpose we did 1 hour, but actually we have to do 3 days, and cron flag should be 0. Once we found the users, we will loop the users. So before looping, we will put the if condition if we have real users or not. So if I say if total users is greater than 0, then start the do loop and end the while loop below. And we loop all the users. And for each user, I will go to record set of the reminder where I will say select star from reminders where user ID is equal to the user which I put it in the do loop. That is the first user. I use the first user here which I get from the do and while loop. And I get all the reminders for that user. I can check that if the reminders are greater than 0. If it is greater than 0, then use the do loop, do while loop. And inside do while loop, we will take the each reminder, construct the message, send the message through email, and then we update the cron flag. Since this cron flag is tied to user, is it right to put inside the do while loop of reminder, or it is not good? Since this is tied to user, it is not tied to reminder. So I have put this if update condition inside the while of reminder. Is it correct, or I should move it to some other place?
It seems to be working. Where it is?
It is working, but is it right to put it here or no?
Probably not. I don't know.
If it's not, give me the reason. Okay. So since this part, update part, is tied to the user, so putting inside the while loop of reminder is not correct. So I will copy this and I will delete it from here and I will put it here before closing the while loop of the user. So always try to see whatever logic you are doing, it is tied to this while loop or it is tied to this while loop. Since the mail is tied to the reminder, you will see all are the reminder mostly. See reminder, it's a record set of reminder. Since this mail is the part of the reminder, I will put inside the loop of the reminder. But since this update is not tied to the reminder, it is tied to the user. I don't see any reminder here. I have users. This is update. This is database. So I don't have any reminder here. So it is better to put in the loop of the users than putting it in the loop of the reminder. So now I will ask questions so that I should know whether you have understood or not. So first question I will ask is, what is this select statement do? What is this record set do? This is the first record set where we were getting the users.
The users haven't logged in 3 days.
Okay, so the users who haven't logged in 3 days and whose email flag is 1 and whose cron flag is 0, we are getting that user. And what we are doing with that user? We are looping that user. And if we are looping that user, for each user, what we are doing? We are doing this part. So what is this part means? Tell me, what is this part means?
All of the reminders created by the user.
Yes. So all the reminders created by each user. So first time the loop will run, it will get all the reminders for the user ID 1. Then second time the loop will run, it will take all the reminders of the user ID 2. Then third time the reminder will run, it will take all the reminders of the user ID 3. So we are getting all the reminders for each user and we are looping that reminders for that user. Why we are looping? Because one user may have multiple reminders. It may have 10 reminders or one user may have created 100 reminders. So I will loop all the reminders of that user. I am looping all the reminders of that user and each time I am constructing this message and I am sending that message in the mail. Right now I commented the mail because it's locally not working. And then I will close the while loop and we have closing of the users loop. Before closing of the users loop, I am updating the user to cron flag 1 so that I should not run this user again when my next time cron will run. Have you understood the process?
Yeah, too complicated.
Yeah, it's little complicated. You have to run the video again and again to do whatever I have done. But once you will do, maybe do 2-3 times. So once you will do one time, second time, third time, you will feel comfortable. If you do only one time, then you will forget it. You have to do multiple times. So I will write down the steps in the notes so that you should know what steps I have taken. Since this is complicated, we should know what we are doing. So here is a cron to logic. The first step is get all users who have not logged in for 3 days and whose email flag 1 is equal to 1 and cron flag is equal to 0. Second step, loop through all the users. which we got from step 1. So now we are inside the loop. I will say this is kind of a while loop. Dreamweaver is using do while loop. We can use directly while loop also. It's one and the same thing. And I will say here 3a, that is while loop ends. I will put 3a. Now inside this while loop, I will write the 4th step. Get all reminders for each user. So this while loop will go through each user. And for each user, I will get all the reminders for each user. Now what I will do with the reminders? I will construct a message and send email to that reminders email. So each reminder will have different email. I will be sending email to that reminders email. And that's done. So we are running the, okay, before construct the message, get all the reminders for each user. Here also we have to run the while loop. I will run the while loop for reminders, and here will be the 6th point, and then I'll say phi a, that means I have to while loop ends. So 5th number is while loop for reminders, which ends here. 3rd number is the while loop for the users, which ends here. So now 5th day, now I will write the 7th step. What is the 7th step? Update the user with cron flag equal to 1, so that I should not repeat the cron again. So there are only 7 steps which are really easy. If you see this part, it's really easy. But to do it, it's little complicated because you are doing it first time, so you will feel little complicated. And like when I was doing, you saw so many errors are coming because while typing, sometimes you miss the curly bracket, you miss the greater than sign, you miss the less than sign. Then you have to go to that particular line and try to fix it as I did in my tutorials. So now if you do this multiple times, and how to do this, just watch the video again and again and try to do same steps. It may take little time to understand the whole process, but once you do this one, next project will be easy for you because you have understood the basis of this cron. And also if you do 3 times, you will understand it clearly. Otherwise, if you do only 1 time, it will be very difficult to grasp all the 7 points. It's easy, 7 points, only 7 points. Any questions?